What's going on, my YouTube family? How you doing? It's Amaria Brown once again. Shoot your shot, okay? And welcome back to the channel. I'm excited today because the topic of today's discussion is just one of those ones. Y'all ready for it? Y'all ready for the topic? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to y'all. The topic of today's discussion is you cannot thrive in survival mode. You cannot thrive in survival mode. That is the topic because I'm 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 excited about this because I lived in survival mode for a large period of my life. Okay? I ain't gonna tell you how old I am. I ain't gonna do that. But it's 2023. I would say I probably stopped living in survival mode maybe shoot, like the beginning of this year. No, 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 the middle of this year. If I'm being completely real with you, in the middle of 2023 is when I stopped living in survival mode because I had a revelation, amen, that's just not the way you should be living, right? And it changed my life completely. So I hope that the knowledge and the information that I share with you all today can create some transformation within your life as it did for me. And so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So, what does it mean to live in survival mode? I'm going to give you the definition, all right? What it means to live in survival mode is when a person's main focus is on meeting basic needs, meaning food, food to eat, and shelter, right? Basic needs, for survival. It can include various aspects of life, such as physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. So, basic needs, as far as mm, okay, aspects of life such as physical. Okay, whatever. Now, the reason this is so deep is because, whew, okay, because I'm trying to see how I want to go about the structure of this, but we just gonna go ahead and get into it, okay? So as I said, meeting basic needs, that's their primary focus. When you're in survival mode, you're not thinking long term. You're thinking about what do I need right now, and you're gonna do whatever you have to do in the moment to get your basic needs, right? So sometimes it could be to the point where somebody they may not have a place to stay, okay? They may not have a place to stay and they may not have food for the night. So some people may turn to I'm going to give scenarios and examples of just my upbringing and things that I've seen and that I've witnessed. Okay, so somebody might turn to selling drugs. Somebody might turn to selling their body. Shoot, somebody might turn. That's a little explicit, but I'm gonna be real. Somebody might turn it to selling their kids like sexually, like you know what I'm saying. Let's not brush it off like that. That kind of stuff don't happen because it does. Um, Somebody might revert to doing um um shoot hanging out with people and doing things with people that they really don't want to, but because they're trying to meet their basic needs for the night or for that moment, they're gonna do what they gotta do to get to that paper. You know what I'm saying? And as far as emotionally, I feel like you living in excuse me, you're living with a high degree of stress and anxiety. Like you're always in panic. I could say panic mode. You may be in chaos a lot of chaotic environments or situations. You like I said, you focus on the short term and not necessarily on the long term or like things like later on in life. So when you making decisions, you're thinking right now. You're not thinking about how this decision can affect you a year from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? You're just thinking about surviving today and tomorrow, or maybe the rest of this week. So you're just gonna do whatever you have to do to make sure that you're meeting your basic needs. Okay, and so that can be most definitely challenging, but also having your life in an uproar, right? Your basic, it's survival. So it's just like you're not gonna be able to thrive, because a thriving life, that looks like calmness, that looks like peace, that looks like joy, it looks like self-care, it looks like self-love, you know. It includes just being successful in all areas of your life, emotionally, financially, physically, mentally. Okay, and when you're in survival mode, you're not being successful in those areas. Okay, and so me speaking for myself, I feel like I was in survival mode, because it may not be to the degree of what other people may have been in survival mode too, and it also may not be as bad as other people. I mean, excuse me, it may be worse than some other people that may have considered themselves to be in survival mode. So I honestly feel like there's really levels to survival mode, because everybody has their own challenges and their own things going on to meet their basic needs, right? So for me, I feel like I feel like I was in survival mode, not necessarily to put food on my plate or to have a roof over my head, because my mom provided those things, right? So that wasn't my survival mode. But I did have we did have trouble meeting other basic needs. Okay? And I'm gonna be real vulnerable here. I'm gonna be real open, honest, and transparent. Okay? Because this is honestly something that I really had to heal from, and that I had to work through. It was something that I had to overcome the shame from, and things of that nature. So I come from a family, we didn't grow up with like having money. You know what I'm saying? So the reason my mom was able to keep a roof over our head and food on our table is because we were living off the state. We had Section 8. If you know what Section 8 is, that's just the system, the government paying your rent. Okay? So that's why we kept a roof over our head. And then we had food stamps. So my mom, it was 7 kids. She had 7 kids. So now she didn't have us all like back to back. Growing up, it was 4 of us. Yeah, it was 4 of us. So she was getting a pretty good amount in food stamps. Kept food on our table. You know what I'm saying? So those right there, those basic needs were met. At the same time, there was no extra money for anything else outside of that. So like there were times where I had to go to school wearing the same uniforms as last year, because my mom didn't have the money to give me new ones, right? Same book bag, sneakers, all that, and then, as a kid, and you see other kids come to school with new stuff, you know what I'm saying? You want new stuff too. Who wouldn't, right? And so that took effect on me emotionally. It took effect on my self-esteem, my confidence, and things of that nature. So do you see where the survival the survival mode has an effect on like your emotional stability, right? Because I'm fighting all of these insecurities and self-doubt and things of that nature, right? And then at the same time, I didn't really have any guidance, because my mom was also like she wasn't really there emotionally. She was there physically. I grew up in the house with my mom. She was there practically every night. You know what I'm saying? She was there. She didn't neglect us physically, but emotionally I felt like there was some neglect. And as a kid, you need that nurturing. from a parental figure. You need that affirmation. You need that I'm here. You need that physical touch, that hugs and things of that nature. You need that open communication, and I didn't have that. So I'm dealing with all these things as a kid, and then at the same time I'm not having anybody to talk to about it, right? And then at the same time I'm not receiving that emotional support from my mom, and I'm not receiving it from my dad because my dad was in prison from the time I was born all the way up until I was about 17. Okay, so now I'm faced with emotional neglect and a financial burden. You know what I'm saying? So that's my story. Now I'm sure you all have your stories of your own, but I just want you to see how living in survival mode doesn't lead to a path of a thriving life. You know what I'm saying? Um and so that's just one thing. But the good thing about me was I had a I had an outlet, and my outlet was basketball, right? And so I started off playing basketball just out of boredom, out of curiosity, because I think I started playing basketball. I want to say 6. When you hit middle school, was what, 7 and 8th? Okay, 7 and 8th. So I think I started playing basketball. I want to say like 6th grade, about 6th grade that summer. That summer before I hit 7th grade, right? And when I started playing basketball, it was fun for me, and I learned like fast. Like I was nice when I first started playing basketball. I was really nice, and I feel like I was nice because I really didn't. Back in those days, kids were outside. You didn't have to force us to be outside. We going outside. You got to force us to come in. Okay, that's the era I grew up in. But I feel like I was nice and ball because that's all I did. Like there was no phones. Like we had phones, but shoot, at that point, yeah, we had phones, but it wasn't the phones that you see today. The screens and you swipe. No, we had clicking buttons that you got to press 3 times to get one letter. We had those kind of phones. Okay, so it wasn't really no big thing. There was really social media. It probably was just starting to come around, maybe. But we were living in the real world. Like life was life. You know what I'm saying? We interacted with people. We hopping fences, jumping gates, climbing trees, playing tag. You know what I'm saying? We was outside. We was living. We was on the porch. You feel me? Like we was off the porch, hopped off the porch in the streets, on backs in the back on the train tracks. Like we was living. We was fighting, doing we was doing everything, right? It's not like how childhoods is today. No. I just wanted to give you that background. So, you know what I'm saying? But that was, so that's why I feel like I was nice because I played it every day. And like I kept a ball in my hand. Like once I picked it up, I never put it down. I just found it to be fun. Learning new tricks, how to put it between your legs, behind the backs, spins, and all kind of. It was fun. And then I was shooting. I was a good shooter, still is. But I played on literally everything because, like I said, my mom didn't have any money, so we would make a hoop out of anything. All we gotta do is square something off, and that's the hoop. Me and my cousin, you know what I'm saying, and my neighbors, and my the people with my other kids in my community, right? And so because I played it every day, I just got nice, right? So that was my outlet. Now at the time, did I know that I was running away from, I won't even say running, but did I know that I was substituting that for the things that I wasn't really receiving? Shoot, no. I didn't know it at the time, but as I grew up, as I got older, and I started thinking back, I'm like, maybe that was, you know what I'm saying? This was my outlet. And so I put major time into it, and that's how I got better. And the reason I'm even telling you about this is because, like I said, most people in survival mode, they think short term. They don't think about the long-term effects on things, right? So even with goals, most people, they don't have any goals. They're just, because they're so deep and stuck into survival mode that they're just thinking about the day to day. They're not thinking, like I said, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. But and I feel like it's because it depends on what level of survival mode you're on. See, because I had a stable place to stay and I had food to eat, right? The very basic needs were met. So that wasn't a concern. That wasn't my top priority. I was a kid. I was still able to have fun, right? But as an adult, if you ain't got no place to stay, if you ain't got food for the night, you're not thinking about your goals in 5 years. So for me, because my very basic needs were met, it left room for me to think about what I want to do in the future. And so because my circumstances and my environments were harsh to me, it made me start thinking about the changes I want to make and the changes that I want to see in my life. Because I remember vividly, I promise you know that I remember vividly when I was standing in my room. I'm going to give you another detail of my life. Now, I'm being vulnerable, okay? Y'all could be vulnerable too. Y'all could comment and give y'all inputs and give y'all thoughts too, but I'm being vulnerable with y'all, right? I remember one time I was standing in my room. I didn't even have no room. I'm gonna say that. My room was called the back room because everybody was in and out of there. Cousins, sisters, aunts, people staying the night, friends coming over, sleeping. Like it was a back room. It was a room in the back and it had 2 beds. One was a full-size bed and one was a twin-size bed. I ain't have no dresser. I had a bookshelf and my clothes were folded up in the bookshelf and I hated it. I ain't have no curtains. I had a sheet hanging up on the window and I hated it. You know what I'm saying? So it, like I said, we were lacking in finances. We were lacking in finances, so we didn't have like some people would consider that a basic need, right? But we didn't have that. And like I said, it could be way worse for somebody, and then for some people, my situation is worse. You know what I'm saying? So it's just levels to it. But like I was saying, I remember standing in my room and I'm looking at all these things. I'm looking at the bookshelf. My clothes just open. Anybody could just come in, walk in, and take a shirt, take some pants, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like that. Like, I like my space. You know what I'm saying? I'm a female. What's going on here? Excuse me. And I remember standing there in the middle of my room and I'm just looking at it and my eyes starting to tear up because I'm so frustrated. Like, why am I living like this? I remember thinking just that, like, look at, like, why am I living like this? And then I just kept thinking, just frustrated, and I'm like, I'm not gonna live like this forever. I remember telling myself that I'm like, this is not gonna be how I live forever. And so that motivated me. Excuse me. So that that motivated me, right? Because the things that I was facing, the challenges and the adversities that I was facing, that I was living with, it made me want better for myself. And so sometimes people look at their adversities and their challenges and they fall victim to it rather than trying to become a conqueror. Okay? So that's why strategic habits to overcome obstacles and thrive. To overcome obstacles and thrive. Like, this ain't something I just, put together because it sounds good. No, it's a story behind this. Like, you can't let your situations and your adversities and your challenges make you fall victim to them. No, you got to start thinking of ways to overcome this, right? You got to start thinking of ways to overcome this, and I'm going to tell you some ways to overcome it. But before I do that, I'm gonna go through what survival mode is, because I ain't done. Like I said, this is a juicy topic. We just getting started. This might be a long video. I ain't gonna make it too long, but it's gonna be some length to it. Cause this is real. Like this is a problem in our community. This is a problem in our families. People are stuck in survival mode and they don't even recognize it. That's the first thing, is self-awareness. That's why I say, when I figured out that I was living in survival mode this year, it changed my life completely. Because self-awareness is the key. You have to be, if you don't know that you're settling for less, if you're not aware of it, how would you even get the thought of wanting more, wanting better? Okay? I'm not trying to get too deep in everything, but let's be realistic here, right? And so another subject of survival mode, okay, it says emotional strain. And with emotional strain, it results in feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, or a lack of control over one's lives, which I was just speaking on when people fall victim to their circumstances. You're feeling hopeless. You're feeling helpless. No, you got to turn around that mentality and think of things that's going to allow you to overcome this. You get what I'm saying? And with me, even as a kid, I was thinking like that. If you're an adult, you most definitely should be thinking like that. But some people don't know. So I get it. I understand. But hopefully you see this video and you get a revelation, okay? That some things need to be tweaked and changed, okay? Another subject of survival mode is the fight or flight response. And there's other responses to this. They got freeze, and then it's another one, I think it's fawn, I believe. But yeah, flight, freeze, and fight. Those are like the main three, okay? And these are your body's physiological response to stress. It says it may be activated in those living in survival mode, okay? And it can lead to heightened alertness, increased heart rate, and other stress related reactions. Okay? So some people responding to like to survival mode or trauma, I would say they may freeze, meaning get stuck, panic, not knowing what to do. So they just sit there, they just sit in the midst, going day to day, doing the bare minimum, doing just enough to get them through. Some people is fight, so meaning this may look like anybody that they feel offense towards, they ready to hoot and holler, scream and fight, because they're already frustrated. They're in a traumatic experience, or they're just in survival mode. Okay? And then flight, people may try to completely neglect what's going on around them. And I feel like this is a pretty deep one, because sometimes there's people, and this is big. That's why mental health is so important in the Black community, because listen, living in survival mode, that plays a big role on your mental health. And it's sometimes we see people and we call them retarded or slow or dumb, but really they just been living in survival mode for so long that their trauma response is to just neglect what's going on around them. It's so much pressure and anxiety and stress on them that they don't even want to think about all the stuff that they're dealing with. And so it shows up, it shows up looking like they don't really know what's going on in the world. Like they're here in the physical, but they're not really here. So like you may be talking to them and they just looking around, or they may respond, but it may be something that has nothing to do with what you said to them. Because, and that's another thing too, it's called dissociative. It means that they're like I said, they're here in the physical, but their mind is somewhere else, because they've been in trauma so long, they've been in survival mode so long, that they don't want to face reality. That is deep. Sometimes, and I feel like when people say mental health, they think it's such a bad thing, but in reality, people just need somebody to talk to. People just need somebody to bring them back. And when they go to these hospitals, they just trying to drug them up with pills and all this medication that's not doing nothing for them. All it's going to do is mess them up even more. It's going to really just give them a real problem. You know what I'm saying? Rather than putting them in a home, put them in therapy, counseling. People just be needing. That's really how mental health like starts. And to the point where if it go neglected for so long and nobody is like having a conversation with this person to like reel them back to reality, they can get so far gone, and now they may just be messed up for the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, man. I be thinking about certain things like that, because like I'm gonna be real with y'all once again. I'm gonna be honest, like I'm really being vulnerable here. Wow. So people used to call me slow. Okay? Now me, I knew I was never slow, right? I knew I was smart. I don't like the cuss, but I was smart as hell. You feel me? It was just, I was in survival mode in different aspects of my life. Like I said, emotionally, sexually, okay? Because that's a whole nother thing within itself too. Physically, and psychologically, because although my family didn't have money, like I said, there were other things that caused trauma in my life. Like I said, sexually. So it was other things that I was dealing with. It wasn't just not having money. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I ain't gonna get into everything that I went through in this video. I may discuss it at a later point, but all those things that's just being piled on top of each other, it can lead to your mind just going astray. That's why it's important to have people to. That's why it's important to have people to talk to like I used to build up my emotions, like, and just cut people off, like not express my emotions, because I just didn't feel safe enough to do it, and I didn't feel like people really cared to know, and I just felt like I was better off just keeping it to myself, and in reality I was not. And I'm gonna tell you why I felt like that, like what led up to that point, but not in this video. I'm not gonna tell you that in this video. But yeah. So like I said, people used to call me dumb, and I used to just be in my mind like really giving them a mouthful in my head, and I used to just be looking at them like yeah, you could say that, but I know who I really am. You know what I'm saying? The people used to say all kind of crazy stuff, but I used to be like, little do you know, like I'm really ripping you, I'm really reading you all in my head, like. But I used to be feeling like I ain't gotta prove nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? But it got to a point where I had to learn, like, you have to speak up. You have to say what's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a whole lot behind that. Like I said, I'll save it for another video. But yeah, man, that mental health, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I done seen, you know what I'm saying? I done seen people worse than me, and I done seen people that may not been as bad as me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, like I said, it's just really it's levels to it. Okay? And so those are all the subjects that I'm going to give as it relates to survival mode. Matter of fact, I'm going to give one more. The last one I'm going to give is limited resources. Okay? And this deals with people in survival mode having limited access to resources, whether financial, social, or emotional. This can make it challenging to overcome challenges or invest in personal growth. Okay? And so this was another thing for me as well. Because growing up, I used to go to the BGC, Boys and Girls Club. If you don't know what BGC stands for, it's Boys and Girls Club. But there were people there that I kind of used to talk to as far as like leaders within that program. But like I said, I didn't feel safe enough to express like all that I was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And then this is another thing too. I didn't feel like I felt like maybe if I would have said something that shoot, maybe somebody gonna try to take me from my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't want to give nobody the impression that my mom just neglected me. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know how people take stuff. So I used to just keep it to myself because I'm like, somebody might take this the wrong way, like, oh, she's not doing for them and she's not a fit parent. Okay, things may not be going, 100%, but you ain't finna take me from my mom. Like, nah, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, but yeah, limited resources, bro. So it's just like with programs like BGC, Boys and Girls Club, and it's like it was other things in my community, but that's really where I went, Boys and Girls Club. And so those kind of resources is to help and aid families, children, and parents in resources for development. Excuse me. It's a emotional development, social development, and financial development. I remember I used to work at the BGC in a little snack room, making a little couple dollars. It wasn't no big job. It was something. But and then for the social, it's more kids there. You could talk and play with other kids and things of that nature, which I did. I did that. And emotional. That's the only thing. The emotional was what I was not receiving. And here's the thing too. How you're doing emotionally is how you're doing. So you could have money. You know what I'm saying? You could have friends. But how are you emotionally? Because that's really how you're doing. So that was my case. Like, I was a jokester. I'm making everybody laugh. I had friends. People liked me. But emotionally, I was messed up. My life was in a turmoil. I was drowning emotionally. And as you can see, that's what led to the dysfunction in my life. I had nobody to talk to about emotions. Literally no one. Siblings, no. Parents, no. Friends, no. Because I felt ashamed. I felt like I would be judged. I had trust issues. Okay? I didn't feel safe. And so as people, we got to start making people feel safe to express themselves, because you just never know what people are going through. You may be the one to save them from a mental breakdown. Okay? So those are the subjects that I'm given for survival mode. As I said, basic needs focus, stress and anxiety, short-term thinking, limited resources, emotional strain, and fight or flight response. Okay? I think those were some pretty good ones, honestly. Okay? And so now y'all know I focus on like social emotional learning, okay? And I feel like survival mode, I feel like the topic, you cannot thrive in survival mode, I feel like that will fall under the quadrant of self-management. And let me tell you why. I know I said it's self-awareness, but I feel like just awareness is just not enough, because we want to overcome these obstacles, right? To thrive. So I feel like it's under self-management, because we need to make the proper adjustments to live a thriving life so we can get out of survival mode. You following? Cool. So I feel like, and these are things from my mind, from my head, that I came up with, that I feel like can help somebody who's in survival mode that's trying to crawl their way out. Because, like I said, being in survival mode is not just a flick a switch overnight thing. You in one day, you out the next. No, it's like a process to this. Okay. And so one thing I can say is to manage your time. You have to manage your time. You have to manage your money, and you have to manage your resources. So you got time management, money management, and resource management. Okay? I ain't gonna dive too deep. I'm gonna scratch the surface on things that you can do to get out of survival mode. All right? So here's what I said. I said when you're in survival mode, you are already limited to those things. You're limited with your time, meaning, so say you're an adult and you have kids, you're a single parent. Boom, survival mode. And you have like a minimum wage job. Survival mode. So you're limited with your time because there's no mornings to yourself. Once you get up in the morning, boom, you got to deal with those kids. You got to get them ready for school, take them to school, however they get to school. Then you got to go to work yourself. Once you get out of work, your kids is back home. You got to keep them occupied, get them ready for school the next day, shoot, homework. Then you got to do the day-to-days, and you know how kids are, active, getting into things. And then you got to feed them. It's a whole thing. So you have limited time. There's no days to yourself. You may get, don't get me wrong, you may get some, depending on however your relationship is with their parent, with their other parent, because it could be the mom, it could be the dad. So however your relationship is with the other parent, right? So with managing your time, when you do have that time to yourself, you have to handle your priorities first, your top priorities. And I would say your top priorities is your self-care. Like I said, your emotional development, your mental development, right? So find that time. Excuse me. I'm talking today. Find that time to make time for yourself. Check in with you. See how you are emotionally. See where you're at. How do you feel? And write it down. Journal. Do the things, like really take a deep dive and just see where you're at. That's what I would recommend, honestly, because you can't help nobody if you don't help yourself. Whether it's your kids, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friends, whether it's your spouse, you have to make sure you're straight. And I feel like a lot of us sometimes we be so busy trying to make sure everybody else straight that we forget about ourselves. So when you have time, don't go just wasting your time scrolling on social media. Don't go trying to hit up a friend and get drinks and chill. Don't go trying to hit up one of your little links and trying to no. Time management. You already have a busy schedule, right? Once your kids come back, everything else is out the window. You got to get back to your daily routine. But so when you have that time, take it for yourself. Manage your time. Because like I said, how you are emotionally is how you are. So when things are chaotic, when your kids are around and you working every day back to back, when you got that time for yourself, shoot, go get your nails done, go to the spa, go get a massage, go for a walk in the park, go read a book, shoot, go check in with a therapist or a counselor or somebody that you trust, that you can safely and comfortably express your feelings to and your emotions to. Okay? So time management. The second one is money management. Money management. If you're in survival mode, 9 times out of 10, Your finances are looking scarce. So when you do get money, manage it well. Don't be like, you may be living paycheck to paycheck, right? So why not budget your money, set aside, you gotta pay your bills and all that, pay your rent, pay your high priority bills first, and then the extra money that you do have left over, budget that. Go grocery shopping, meal prep, get some food that you cook. It may be a little challenging with kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't got kids, so like for me personally, I be trying to budget. I be trying to meal prep. I'll cook something and it'll last me about 2 to 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, and I cook something again, it lasts me about another 2 to 3 days. Shoot, I may not last the third day because I don't really like eating the same thing back to back, but you get my point. But it's just managing your money. Like, don't, when you get paid, you trying to go out to eat, go get crabs, seafood boil. Money management. I understand you done had a rough week. I understand that. But look, here's the thing though. That's why I said we don't think long term. When you're in survival mode, you're not thinking long term. You're thinking about right now. Oh, I had a long week. I want to go out with my friends and have a drink. No. Shoot, tell your friends to come over. We playing it in the crib because every time, we all know when you go outside, you want to spend some money. Yeah, friend, you could come over. We could chit chat, talk it up, chop it up. But we staying in because I ain't got that money to spend right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this how we about to do this. We could have a game night or something. I'm not going to Chili's. I'm not going to Applebee's. No, I don't got that to do. I'm not going to R&B Thursday. No, not this week. Sorry, I'm budgeting. You got it. Money management. You got to set these things in place, and that's another thing too. Like, they don't have, like I said, they don't have goals. When you're in survival mode, we don't think about goals. So all this is doing is helping you set some goals. Like, okay, I want to save, even if you save just $15 more than what you did last month. Like, let's say every 2 weeks. That's an improvement. $15 may not seem like a lot, but if you think about it, shoot, it may be 15 weeks for like these 3 months that I'm doing it, but then I can discipline myself enough to now it's going to be $30, extra $30 I'm saving, or extra $50 that I'm saving. It's discipline. We setting goals because we're not thinking about right now. We're not thinking about short term. We're thinking long term. You get me? And like I said, the last one, number 3, resources, resource management. This deals with Oh, matter of fact, before I go to resource management, hold on. Okay, so yeah. That's what I wanted to say too. Yes, I'm glad I read that. So with the money management, right? Because like I said, we're trying to crawl our way out of survival mode. So here's the thing. With that extra money that you're saving up, let's not put it into the things that's not serving us. Let's not put it into the things that's not going to develop us. Because when you're getting out of survival mode, like I said, you need to develop your emotional state. You need to develop your mental state, meaning learning new things, right? You need to develop your physical state, your health, eating healthier foods, going to the gym. That time that you want to spend with those people, nah, sis, I'm going to the gym today. I'm about to go for a walk. Excuse me. I'm about to get me a trainer because how you feel. Well, let me say this: when you look good, you feel good, right? Because your health has an impact. Your physical health has an impact on your mental health as well. I don't know if everybody knows that, but it does, and that's some things that they don't really teach. Like, they don't really teach us. I ain't gonna say they don't teach us, but that's some things that when people that's in survival mode, they're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about going to the gym, or they're not thinking about when working out It's going to make your body look better, which therefore is going to make you feel better. They're not thinking about that. So we gotta open our minds, man, to really just learn new things, right? Like I said, your personal development. Maybe go to a conference. That's what helped change my life too. I started getting around people that was already thriving. Yes, so cause once you see it, you can't unsee it. So once you start getting around people that's thriving emotionally, thriving financially, thriving mentally, meaning like they know a lot of things, they getting stuff done, they contributing to the world. Once you see stuff like that, you can't unsee it. It's there, it's in your mind now. So it's either you gonna chase that, that's a life you gonna attempt to have, or you just gonna be complacent. And the people that's watching this video, I don't believe y'all have a mindset of staying complacent, of being complacent, because you wouldn't be watching this video. If you made it this far, you ain't no complacent person. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta get in these rooms, go to a conference, go to an event, go to a networking event, meet new people, expand your mindset, expand your mind, gain new knowledge. The right information can change your life. You copy? Word. Facts. So yeah. Yeah. Let me see what else I got on here. And as far as the time too, stop spending it with people that's not serving you. If you know you're trying to change your life, if you know you're trying to get out of survival mode, you can't be hanging around with people that's okay with being in survival mode. If you know you're trying to expand your mind, right? If you're trying to learn new things because you want to change your life, that's what all of this is about. Changing our lives, transformation, getting from one place to another, getting out of survival mode to thriving. Okay, you cannot be hanging around with people that has no intention of changing. So if your girl's calling you up, hey sis, let's go get a drink, let's go to this club, I won't even suggest inviting her over for the stay-ins. Nah, sis, I'm straight. I can't make it today. Okay, because if you continue to put yourself around those kind of people, you're gonna remain the same. When they say you hang around 9 rich people, you're gonna be the 10th. Okay, and if you hang with 9 people that's stuck in survival mode and that have no intention of getting out, you're gonna be the 10th. Okay, so we got to be mindful of our relationships and the people that we're spending our time with. Which that's the time management. I meant to say that. That was the time management. Yeah, it's personal development. You want to develop yourself to the point where you're thriving. And that involves changing your mentality, upgrading your emotional state. And the last one was resource management. And I didn't write anything for this one, but I'm going to just go ahead and say something off the top of the dome. I feel like resource management has to deal with your resources is like honestly, I feel like I pretty much done. Okay, matter of fact, we're gonna say this. How because they offer a lot of like programs and counseling and guidance, like a whole lot, like guidance, mentorship in certain communities, right? Like the YMCA. What's another one? It's the Salvation Army. You know, they be having like different programs and things like that. So take advantage of those things, right? If they're offering them, put yourself in those rooms. Like sign up, apply, whatever you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. They're there for a reason. They're there to help you. Manage those resources that's in your community. Yes, those rec centers that has computers. Some people may not have computers, but shoot, everybody got their phone. You got that's a mini computer. search up videos, watch videos, learn new things. You ain't even, at this point, at this day and age, you ain't even got to go out your house to learn something new for real. Go on YouTube. It's plenty of personal development videos on YouTube. Plenty of motivational videos if you need some motivation. All right? Plenty of videos that's just going to help spark your mind, give you something new to think about. Because that's what all this is about, is just transforming your mind. The Bible say, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's exactly what I did. So if I can do it, people call me retarded. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Okay? All right? Like, come on now. I'm rooting for you. Let's go. Y'all got this, bruh. Real talk. So that's about it. I feel like I rambled and I went on and I went on and I went on. This video probably about 30 minutes long, but I feel like it was very valuable. So I'm going to edit this and post it. And I hope you all learned something new. I hope I gave you some new insight. I hope it was valuable for you. And those are my wishes, man. Strategic habits to overcome obstacles and thrive. It's the end of 2023. We going up. We not going down. We thriving. We not surviving. Let's finish these last 2 months with a bang. Straight elevation in 2024. What's up? Okay, we're not staying in the same spot as last year. No, sir. No, ma'am. It's up. What's up? Let's go. Shoot your shot. Yeah.